Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cheryl Technology Channel. My name is Chris, and I'm your host today. Let me turn you this way, everybody. There you go. Here, we'll tilt you down just a little bit. There you go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cheryl Technology Channel. My name is Chris, and I'm your host today. In this one, we are going to be looking at a dream that I had about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I was going to do a video earlier, but it didn't work out. So I'm doing one now. So basically, what happened was I had this dream about my son giving away all my passwords. Now, I don't know what I was drinking that night. I don't drink alcohol, so it couldn't have been that. It might have been water, some in the water. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I had this dream, and I had this dream where I was sitting there watching my son give my passwords away. And I'm like, son, stop. What are you doing? And he never stopped, and they got access to all my accounts. Well, that sparked a whole entire series of videos because of that. And you're going to need some coffee for this one. So let's get some coffee. Let's get right into it. Basically, I had this dream. He was giving away all my passwords on camera. I was able to see what was happening. And so after I saw this, I was like, oh crap, son, stop. Don't do that. Don't stop. It was my youngest son, Isaac. And he didn't stop. He kept giving them away. I woke up, and I mean like 4:30 in the morning. I was like sweating and crap, and I thought to myself, okay, now what? So that's what led to this video. I have got an entire list on my iPad for this, like a whole list. Like this is going to be like 5-6 videos. But the first one basically is the first line of defense you have is the password itself, right? You have the password links, and I wanted to go into this this video in terms of from somebody that doesn't know anything about passwords or why it's important for them to be long or complicated. I'm telling you, everybody, I know there's a lot of you out there who make passwords that are easy. I've made a few of them myself, and what it does is it leads to eventual password cracking because it's easy. And the way they do it is they do what's called I've seen a dictionary attack where they go through the dictionary in order. So like, let's say that your password is dog 1234 or some crap like that. Well, guess what? That's going to be an easy one, because when it gets to the D's, it's going to find out that it's dog. And then all it's got to do is add the numbers on the end of it. It's pretty simple. So that's why it's important to have a really complicated password. My recommendation is 25 characters. Most people will say 10 or 12, but I think you should do 25, because the longer the password is, the harder it is for somebody to break it. That's what I'm saying, is like you want to make it as utterly as impossible as you possibly can. And the reason being is because if you have a weak password, if you have a weak password, it's going to get hacked eventually. And so that's what led me to this video. I have been thinking about this video for more than a week and how I'm going to portray this information. But the biggest question that I came away with in the dream was, how do I prevent this? How do you prevent somebody from hacking all of your passwords? Well, there's several ways. The first way is this right here. Create long and unique passwords. Yeah, see right here for your dog's birthday. See, the problem is that people are lazy and they want to make things that are short and quick and fast. The problem with making things that short and quick and fast is that you end up getting into a place to where it becomes a habit of building bad passwords. And what happens then? Well, that can help your identity to get stolen. See, with a password, the length and complexity are very important, right? That's your first line of defense. There's other ways that you can secure it, but we're going to go into that in just a minute. So my first inclination was, okay, what are the consequences of this? If somebody were to get all my password, what would be the consequences? Well, that's the thing. The consequences would be horrible. The reason being, I will tell you a story about my son Adam. He's my oldest son. He had an account that got hacked, a Steam account. It was my original Steam account, had my email attached to it and everything. And what happened is when he got hacked, he didn't come and tell me that it got hacked. I had no idea until like 2-3 days later. Well, my email was attached to that account. And if my email is attached to that account, that's a problem, because now if they can crack my password to my email, that gives them access to a lot of other things. The first lesson here, everybody, is if you're a younger person and your account gets hacked, parents, don't be mad at them. Help them to fix it, right? The first thing you can do is change your password. Maybe even change the email it's attached to. That would probably be better too. But there's a lot of ways you can do this. And in this series, we're going to explore a lot of these things you can do to secure things. Now, it's not the same for everybody because not everybody thinks about security the same way. And so you have to find a way that you can understand that helps you to secure your account, right? I mean, you can't rely on everybody else. So, like I said, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, and it would, and then not only would it affect my life, but it would affect my boy's life too, and my wife. It would affect all our lives. So make sure you take this stuff seriously. This is very important. My boy Damien's got a book called Shields Up, and he goes into great detail, but it's easy to understand. And it's on Amazon right now. I can provide you a link if you want it. I'm going to put it in the description anyway. In that book, he walks through how to secure your accounts and stuff. Now, I'm going to be doing a play-by-play on his book because I've already asked him about it. I messaged him yesterday and asked him about it, and he said he was fine with it. I'm going to do a deep dive into a lot of this stuff because I really want y'all to understand why it's so important. It's imperative that you take this stuff seriously, because if you don't, you're going to end up being the one that gets hacked. So let's start this off, right? The password is the single most important part because it is the single point of failure. If your password is bad, it's easier to hack. So I recommend, like I said before, 25 characters at least, and make it with uppercase, lowercase, a number, and a special character. I would use all 4 of those. 25 characters, if you do those things, it's gonna be very hard for somebody to crack it. Very, very hard to crack it. Now, you gotta make sure that all your encryption is right, that you're securing your passwords correctly. So, right, okay, so let's look at it this way, right? So we have Google Password Manager, right? We have a lot of these password managers that are built into web browsers. The problem is that if your Google account gets hacked, your passwords get hacked. Sorry, y'all, my sinuses are bad. So if your password gets hacked, you're done. You're screwed. It's over. So I would highly recommend that you don't use a password manager that is tied into your Google account. I would not do that. I would never do that. You want to have separate accounts for everything. Now, the reason for this is if, let's say that somebody gets a hold of your Google password. Now, I have MFA on all my stuff. We'll get into that later and probably in the next video. And the MFA helps to provide a second layer of security, right? And the way you do that is stay away from password managers that are built into the web browser. Because what happens if your browser has a bug and somebody leaks and gets access to all your passwords, if they can see your account, they can get access to your passwords. So that's why I would avoid that. I would have a separate account for your emails, and even go as far to say something else in a minute. Just stay with me, y'all. So I use Bitwarden right here. You can see right here, I use Bitwarden. That's the one I like. It's free, and for the family, it's like $40 a year. So it's cheap as crap, and it works really, really well. There's other ones. 1Password is another good one. And I believe in my buddy's book, he used Bitdefender. There's lots of them. KeePass, there's tons of them. There's a bunch of them out there. I personally liked 1Password. That was a really good one. Bitwarden is free, so that's why I use it. So stay away from things in the web browser. That's what I would highly recommend. I would also recommend not saving passwords in the browser, because you know how when you go to a website, sometimes you'll go to this website and it'll say, "Hey, do you want to save this password?" I would always say no. The reason being is because it's going to save it in your browser. So stay away from any passwords that save your passwords in the web browser. Stay away from that. Horrible idea. Now, next, you want your complexity and you want your password manager secured right. Now, the third thing I would recommend is, do you really want to, how complicated do you want to make things? The third measure I would take is MFA. Now, multi-factor, I'm going to do a whole separate video on it because it deserves a whole separate video. It's extraordinarily incredible. And it's very important. So I would highly recommend multi-factor authentication. Now think about this. What if you had 2 doors into your house, right? Let's imagine it this way. What if you had an outer door to protect the main traffic and then another door on the internal side? Okay, let's think about this. In my buddy's book, Damien's book, he says that it's like a castle, a fortress. He said that you want to secure things in a way that hex. So the first the first example he used was firewall. The firewall is the main defense to the outside world. An antivirus is the second on the internal side. He said that's just in case anything gets past the main firewall, it can be stopped by the antivirus. So you want to make sure that you're not only creating good passwords, but that your security at the firewall and antivirus level is really good too. I use Avast because it's free. Whether that's good or bad or indifferent, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones now, so it's kind of hard to say whether it's good or bad. But having something is better than nothing. That's a fact. There's AVG, Windows Defender, Avast, Kaspersky. There's tons of them out there. Bitdefender is my personal favorite, but I used to pay for Bitdefender, the VPN and all that, but I don't anymore because I'm cheap. But I know how to secure things without spending a ton of money. So that is what I believe are the most important things for you to know. You need to understand that passwords are your first line of defense. They are the main defense against hackers. So what do you think your inclination should be? Your inclination should be to take a good password and make it really good, right? Put it in your password manager, secure your password. Now this is where it gets interesting. You secured your account, right? You've got a really good password on it. Now, what about your password manager? Because a password manager requires one password to get into it. So that password should be very good. I would recommend at least 40 characters. That's what I'd recommend. I would not recommend writing it down. I wouldn't. You need to memorize it. With everything you have, memorize it, right? Tell your family, memorize it. Y'all need, there's no excuse for not memorizing a password anymore. It's something you need to do. It's something that needs to be done. Now, that's why I think you should do. So think about this. You have your password that's really good. Then you secure that account with MFA. Now, what about this? I would highly recommend that you secure your password manager with multi-factor authentication. And we're going to do a whole separate video on that because it is a video all by itself. So y'all, I think that's all I got for today. We learned that having a long password is very important. It helps to prevent dictionary attacks, brute force attack. It helps to prevent a lot of those things. So, or minimize, not prevent, minimize, like you, as far as we can go. So I'd highly recommend that you take a look at this, what you can do to prevent it. And that's where I come in. So that's what I would recommend, everybody. Use a strong password, use multi-factor authentication on those accounts that you have secured, and if you have a password manager, use multi-factor on it too. I use biometric on my phone, my thumbprint for everything. It has to have my thumbprint. And we've tried other thumbprints and it didn't work. So thumbprint is highly recommended. I think that's all I got for you today. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you didn't, that's fine too. You can put a thumbs down. It don't matter to me. I'm going to keep making them anyway. So everybody, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, I pray that you would reach out to me in the comments right now. And if you don't know him and you want to know him, reach out down there and I'll be glad to talk to you about it and help introduce you to him. Okay, everybody. Thank y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and until my next video, everybody, peace.